Nikketa is an interesting free-to-play character which can be a good hyper carry for Hydro should you choose to invest in her. For her skills, we'll start off with her passive and buff On-Site Enforcement. When Coolidge is on the field, Nikketa gains Insight before Nikketa or Coolidge uses their skill. They both gain 1 stack of Clue. If the attack exploits a phase weakness, they additionally gain 1 stack of Clue again. Coolidge counterattack can trigger up to once per turn. After Coolidge launches a counterattack, Nikketa will follow up by using her ultimate skill, Righteous Verdict, against the target. This ultimate skill will not have Confectance Index cost requirement to use. So as we take a look at Clue, damage dealt by out-of-turn attacks. Attacks is further increased by 5%, maximum 5 stacks, considered a Hydro buff, and cannot be cleansed. So the kit of Nikketa basically is going to be relying much in terms of damage on this skill. So take note how you're going to be escalating this and how you're going to be developing Nikketa should you choose to get more copies of her. For our next skill, we have Righteous Verdict. This is the ultimate and targeted. Stability damage is 2, selects one enemy target within 9 tiles, dealing Hydro damage equal to 130% of attack to it. If the target has guilt, performs an additional attack and removes guilt. Expends all points of Confectance Index. Each additional point of Confectance Index spent increases the damage of the skill by 5%. As for guilt, the debuff holder takes 5% more Hydro damage from Nikketa and Coolidge, considered a Hydro debuff and cannot be cleansed. So apart from your passive, your ultimate will be the skill that you will be spamming in terms of damage that you'll be dealing. So take note on how, again, you will have to scale Nikketa in terms of copies, and we'll discuss that more later. Next skill is going to be Judgment Strike, active, AoE, and debuff. Stability damage is 2, selects one enemy target within 9 tiles, dealing AoE Hydro damage equal to 80% of attack to it and all enemy units within 2 tiles of the target. Applies guilt for 2 turns. Nikketa gains 2 points of Confectance Index and extra command. For her S1, this is K9 deployment, active, AoE, summon, and a debuff. Stability damage is 3, selects one empty tile within 9 tiles and summons Coolidge, dealing AoE physical damage equal to 80% of attack to all enemies within 2 tiles and applying guilt for 2 turns. Coolidge is already on the battlefield, teleports Coolidge to a selected tile instead. Nikketa gains 1 point of Confectance Index. Coolidge, the dog summon, inherits 80% of Nikketa's initial HP, 80% of her initial attack, and 100% of her initial defense. It is unable to move and has the passive skill Coolidge Loyalty. So Coolidge Loyalty is, if an enemy target within a certain tiles of Coolidge deals damage, launches a counter attack against it. So for the last skill, active deterrence, basic attack, targeted, stability damage is 2, selects an enemy target within 9 tiles and deals physical damage equal to 80% of attack to it. For our weapon options, we'll start off with the free-to-play option, which is VSK94. This is an SR gun and has a skill caution level 1. Ultimate skill damage is increased by 10%. Another free-to-play option is going to be Samosek. This is going to be available in your neural integration shop. So this gun has a skill Keep It Up level 1. Face damage is increased by 10%, which will be very beneficial to Nikketa, except for the electric damage increase by 10%. Also, this gun is very good for Nikketa because this has crit damage plus 25%. For her signature weapon, Guardian Silverwing, this gun unfortunately is not the optimal gun for her. We'll talk about that later. This gun requires copies, especially if you are at V3 up to V6. Virtuous Reward level 1 is the effect at the end of the unit's action. Applies Soak 1 to the unit and her physical summon for 2 turns. Ultimate skill damage is increased by 15%. Plus, this gun has an attack boost of 15%. Finally, this is the optimal gun for her to use, especially at V0 up to V2. This is Bittersweet Caramel, and the effect is Art of Eradication level 1, increase freeze damage dealt by 10%. For every 4 instances of damage dealt outside of own turn, increase damage dealt by the next active attack by 10%. Also, this gun has a crit damage of plus 25%. The trait of attacks ignore 10% of the target's defense is crucial also to her build. For her attachments and stat priorities, definitely go with Hydro Boost or Phase Strike, depending on what you really have and depending on the stats that are available to these sets. And for the stats, concentrate on attack, attack boost, crit rate, and crit damage. For her fortification, definitely V0 is actually good for free to play. But if you want to take it further, V1 is a nice stopping point. Since V1 is going to yield her a 125% more in damage, V1 allows Nikketa to always use S2 and ultimate on every turn, except for the first. Instead of alternating between S1 and S2, take note that the extra action is detrimental in cases where buffs are turn-based, as this causes the buff to run out faster. For her next stopping point, definitely it's going to be at V3 with a 207% damage. V3 is going to be increasing the number of counterattacks and subsequently Righteous Verdict performed by 1 per round, as well as doubling the damage increase given to damage dealt outside of one's turn, which significantly boosts Nikketa's damage. Her ultimate build definitely comes at V6 with a whopping 292% damage. So at V6, since Guilt is not consumed, all Righteous Verdict will deal an additional attack instead of only the first one. It also increases damage based on Confectant's Index consumed, which significantly boosts Nikketa's damage. For our Euro Helix, we'll start off with our common key, Defender. It has a tax boost of 5%. When this unit has a Hydro buff, critical rate is increased by 10%. So ideally, you will equip this with Nikketa or you can equip this with Tulolo. For her fixed keys, definitely go with Oppressive Air. This one gains you Clue and gains her attack up 2 for 1 turn. Next one is going to be Righteous Doll. After basic attack or targeted skill, gains 1 point of Confectant's Index. And the last fixed key that you should equip is going to be Messenger of Justice. If the target has guilt, deals additional 2 points of stability damage to it. If you're looking for an option, Just Desert is an optional key that you should use, especially if you are at V0. Since you'll be spamming S1 a lot in her kit at V0, this one is preferred to be used. For her common key, Defender is actually used in Nikketa because I wanted to add more critical rate to her. Then I used stats for crit rate, crit damage, attack boost. Then the last one is critical rate 5%, increased damage dealt outside of the unit's own turn by 7%. For her team options, definitely the best team for now to build her in is going to be a Hydro Corrosion team. This team has been performing well in Gunsmoke, plus the addition now of Nikketa gives it more DPS. You'll have to slot out Michti though. So for Hydro Burn team, this team is going to be perfect for her as well. You'll have to swap out Sharkree for this one. And the last team is going to be a Hydro Freeze team. This team is going to be kind of a level 2 below Hydro and below Koro. But again, this team is actually good for her as well. So my thoughts on Nikketa, she is fantastic at free-to-play. V0 is going to give her a lot of, her kit is really wide open. But if you want to scale her kit, definitely you'll have to invest a couple of copies in her, depending on what you feel. V1, V3, or V6. At V6, definitely she will be overtaking Tulolo in terms of damage output. And I'll leave it up to you guys on what you decide eventually. Again, comment down in the comment section, guys. Take care, stay safe. This is the Warden, and I'm out of here.